apple pie, guns, mom, and the American flag. Make America great again. These are, to some, the rally cry of the conservative right. And today, we're going to look for some conservative weird on today's episode of 5 Weird Things. Welcome to the channel. In my youth, I was pretty conservative, but as life brought me some experiences and different things, I found that my views shifted, and now I find the very conservative side of myself is balanced out by some very liberal beliefs. I think most people are a mix of both. What are your thoughts? Tell me down in the comments. All right, let's get into it. First, the things we should all know. Conservatism emphasizes a preference for established traditions, institutions, and societal structures. Conservatives are often skeptical of radical change and argue for the preservation of established customs and values. Conservative ideology often advocates for limited government intervention in people's lives. Conservatives generally emphasize the importance of individual liberties, personal responsibility, and free market principles. They argue that reducing the government involvement allows for greater individual freedom and promotes self-reliance. Conservatives are typically cautious about rapid or sweeping social and political changes. Instead, they advocate for incremental adjustments and reforms. This approach is rooted in the belief that sudden and drastic transformations can lead to unintended consequences and disrupt societal cohesion. Weird thing number 5, the origins of the conservative movement. The conservative movement gained momentum in response to the policies of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal during the 1930s. Frustration with the expansion of government intervention in the economy, the establishment of social programs, and the perceived infringement of individual liberties led to the mobilization of conservative intellectuals and activists. William F. Buckley Jr., often considered a central figure in the conservative movement, played a pivotal role in its early years. In 1955, Buckley founded the National Review, a conservative magazine that served as a platform for conservative intellectuals to articulate their ideas. The magazine became a unifying force for the diverse strands of the conservative thought. The conservative movement was forged through a process known as fusionism, which sought to unite traditional conservatives, libertarians, and anti-communists under a common umbrella. This ideological fusion aimed to blend the principles of limited government, free market economics, and traditional social values. This synthesis of diverse conservative strands contributed to the movement's coherence and influence. Weird thing number 4, conservative celebrities. Clint Eastwood, the iconic actor and filmmaker known for his roles in classic westerns and Dirty Harry films, is a well-known conservative. Eastwood has been vocal about his views on limited government and personal responsibility. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. While not strictly conservative, Dwayne is a prominent actor and former professional wrestler. He has expressed some conservative-leaning views and has not aligned himself strictly with one political party, but he is a gifted speaker, and when he expresses an opinion, it has a very big boom to it. James Woods, a versatile actor with a career spanning decades, has been an outspoken conservative on social media. He has used platforms like Twitter, now known as X, to express his views on political issues. Weird thing number 3, conservative corporations. Some companies are known for being painfully conservative. Here are 3 companies that a number of different websites consider to be at the top of that conservative list. IBM, International Business Machines Corporation, is a long-standing technology company that has been criticized for its bureaucratic structure and resistance to change in certain periods of its history. General Electric, known as GE, historically known for its conservative corporate culture, has faced criticism for being very slow to adapt to changes in the business environment. Like other large established companies, GE has experienced shift in its approach over the decades and years. AT&T, as a traditional telecommunications giant, has been viewed by some as having a conservative corporate culture. The perception may stem from its historical dominance in the telecommunications industry. Weird thing number 2. The negative side of conservatism. These are considered to be the biggest criticisms of the conservative right. Resistance to social change. Critics argue that the conservative movement, by its nature, can be resistant to social change. This resistance may be seen as impeding progress on issues such as civil rights, LGBTQ+ rights, and gender equality, as conservatives may advocate for preserving traditional societal structures. income inequality, and corporate influence. Some critics argue that conservative economic policies such as tax cuts and deregulation disproportionately benefit the wealthy and exacerbate income inequality. Additionally, concerns are raised about the influence of corporate interests on conservative politics, suggesting that certain policies may prioritize big business over the well-being of the broader population. Climate change skepticism. The conservative movement has faced criticism for its skepticism and resistance to addressing climate change. Some conservatives question the scientific consensus on climate change, and this skepticism has been seen by environmental activists as hindering global efforts to combat the impacts of climate change. And finally, weird thing number 1, the conservative stance on gun control. Resistance to stricter regulations. Some critics argue that conservative gun control views, which often resist stricter regulations, contribute to a lack of effective measures to prevent gun violence. Critics contend that resistance to measures such as universal background checks, waiting periods, and bans on certain types of firearms may hinder efforts to address public safety concerns. Ties to powerful gun lobbies. Another critique is the perceived influence of powerful gun lobbies, such as the National Rifle Association, known as the NRA, on conservative politicians and their gun control positions. Critics argue that this influence may hinder lawmakers from pursuing comprehensive and balanced gun control measures, potentially prioritizing the interest of gun manufacturers over public safety. Limited focus on mental health. Some critics argue that conservative gun control views tend to emphasize mental health issues as the primary factor contributing to gun violence, potentially deflecting attention from other important factors such as access to firearms and the ease with which individuals can acquire them. Critics suggest that a more comprehensive approach should address multiple factors contributing to gun violence. Well, that's it for today. Now, this was meant to be a companion video to the woke left video that I just did. Let me know any opinions down in the comments. And for those that are still watching, today's code word is apple pie. Put that in the comments to salute the flag. Take care. Have a great day.